I notice when I'm doing readings and in my personal life and with myself is that there is an aversion to doing the hard stuff and having to work through the really difficult pieces of our experience. And of course, this isn't revolutionary information. We all know this, but most often it is the hard stuff that helps us to grow and teaches us the most. So we're in this time period that is asking us to stay still and feel into the energy of what is and get a sense of what it feels like to be in this moment, even when it's hard, even when we feel resentful, confused, irritable, and sad. We want to push through that. We want to just get to the end. We want to just figure out the answer. But this astrology doesn't support that. What it's really pushing us to do is to look at the bigger picture. What is our impact on the people around us when we are angry, sad, mad, resentful? Where is our responsibility for how we allow the world to impact us? What are we supposed to do when we're confronted with problems and issues that are hard? Do we blame and make them everybody else's fault? Do we stamp our feet and have a tantrum? Or, and yes, it's answer C, which is this answer, or can we go into ourselves and try to understand what this particular lesson is teaching us and what our desire to throw a tantrum or our desire to cross our arms and be mad, blame somebody else, not take responsibility for our stuff. Like, what is that teaching us? And I'm bringing this up because we have a lot of taking responsibility for where we're at kind of astrology going on this week. We are taught to make our problems somebody else's fault. We are taught to always seek the easy route. We are taught that pleasure is the gold standard. So we're going to be talking about all of these themes this week. I'm Notha Perkins of Electra Astrology, and this is the Path Ahead, which is our forecast for the week of April 21st through the 27th. My style is Astrology Plus. Of course, we're talking about all of these things using astrology as the entry point, but this is really about understanding your own psychological nature and connecting more deeply with your own spiritual presence. So, that said, take a deep breath and just sense into what it feels like to be in your body in space and time at this moment. Take a minute to look at how far you've come, even just today. What have you gone through? What have you dealt with? And come back to yourself. We're zooming outside of ourselves almost constantly. We get distracted by the news coming into our phones, the emails, the social media that pulls us for attention, our kids, our parents, the weather, our physical aches and pains. There's a lot that is very distracting, and that's probably a good thing. If we were in a pure state of presence all the time, it might be a little too intense, but it is this intensity that we're building a muscle for. We're trying to learn how to tolerate the intensity of being right here and right now, because that's where the real information is. Otherwise, we're on autopilot and we're just going through our days and everything starts going really fast. It's already going really fast. I can't believe it's almost the end of April, but allow this to be maybe your only moment of the day where you just come back to yourself. And I suggest that you come back to yourself as often as you can every day, because that is where we connect in with our spiritual self. So I have to say it. Go ahead and like and subscribe, share it with your friends. And if you want to book a private reading with me, or you want to get my free Astrology as a Superpower ebook, you can get that at electraastrology.com. I'm going to put the links below in the box on both the podcast and on YouTube. By the way, I have a new background. How do you guys like it? If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. If you're on the podcast, it's sparkly. There's some plants. I love plants. You guys know that. Plants and fairy lights. Might as well have a little fun with AI. So let's get into the charts. So the sun has just moved into Taurus, and I just released a new Aries into Taurus Astrology for Awakening talk. I also put it on the podcast. So that's a good one to listen to so that you can understand what you're going to feel as your energetic transition between the sun in Aries and the sun in Taurus. And we start off right off the bat on April 21st, Monday, with planet Saturn making its conjunction to the North Node. Saturn traveling through Pisces has been teaching us a lot about our true relationship to authority. Pisces, of course, relating to spiritual authority and our relationship to higher power, which, believe it or not, even though we've all been conditioned to look at highest authority as being mom, dad, teacher, boss, government, the truth is that when humans get involved with governing, there's too much imperfection. Power and control start to come in and actually make things unbalanced and unjust. We've been learning a lot about that since Saturn had to travel through the two signs that it ruled over the last 5 years, Capricorn and Aquarius. We've been seeing the distortion of government and how many people give their power to government. Many people disempower the government, right? There's all of this barking about what is right and what is wrong when it comes to human government. Saturn through Pisces has been teaching us about our personal relationship to the governing body of higher power, or God. We each have a unique relationship to that higher power. And there's been a lot of exploration over these past few years, I hope, for you around that. And as Saturn is meeting with the North Node, this is the point of evolution. And this is the taking responsibility for your own evolution. So what I see right now is there's a lot of spiritual bypassing. So people that want to focus too much on love and light, and it's all good, and what will be, will be. And those things can be valuable, but there's a way that you lose your power in that, right? It's like you don't want to look at the heavier stuff. You don't want to look at your own responsibility in how you're navigating your life. And Saturn loves it when you take responsibility. If Saturn is your guide around how to create structure in your life, how to create success, well, Saturn's success is not about snapping your fingers and being a doctor or winning the lottery and being wealthy. It's not about getting 1 million followers so that you feel valuable. Like, we are looking at the hard work that you have to put in every single day when it comes to Saturn and Saturn success. So the question here is, what are you doing to further your own connection to your higher power? How are you tuning in to evolve? Are you taking a few minutes here and there throughout your day to be present with yourself? Are you tuning into your own heart and your own gut and figuring out what you feel about something and what your personal, deeply held convictions are? It's so easy to get run around by the media, by pop culture, and even by the traditions of what you learned as you were growing up. But those things can be really distorted. Those things can have an illusion. Pisces can also be the magic wand that casts the spell that make you believe if you spread frosting on a piece of cardboard that it's a cake. And we're in a period of time where there is a lot of illusion. It's very hard to know what's real. You can very much make a piece of cardboard look like a birthday cake, and nobody would know until you go to cut into it. So this is a time where we're working on our own ability to see, to tune into the energy, to read the room. And so when I talk about time to take responsibility, Saturn says, how are you impacting the people around you? Are you living in the reality? Do you have a connection with some sort of higher power? Are you outsourcing your power to humans around you that don't know what they're doing? These are really big questions to ponder. But we are right here at the North Node, which is all about the evolution. Do you want to grow? Do you want to grow or not? And you've heard me talk about this before. We come in to these human forms and we have immediate amnesia. It's almost as if we have to fall asleep to our spiritual nature in order to navigate being a human. But as we grow and we go through life, we begin to wake up. But that waking up process isn't, we wake up and then we're awake forever. We wake up, we fall back asleep. We wake up, we fall back asleep. Even for the most awake and aware and enlightened among us, we are all falling back asleep all the time. And falling back asleep can look like simmering in resentment, people pleasing, blaming, forgetting what's really valuable, losing our temper, throwing a tantrum. So we all do these things all the time, but it's almost as if there's this bigger question right now that says, how dedicated are you to staying awake? Are you willing to put in the day-to-day work? So often when I do readings and I say, are you tuned into your heart? Are you connecting in with your higher power? Are you taking the obligations that drain you off of your plate? And for the most part, people say, no, I want to. I want to. And I just don't often enough. So Saturn says, well, put it in your schedule then. Make a to-do list. Make sure that you are doing it as often as possible so that you are getting accustomed to it. If we want to grow, we have to put in the hard work. It doesn't just show up. We have to show up every single day and dedicate a little bit of time here and there to our spiritual growth and our personal presence. So this week, give that some thought because this theme is big. At the same time that that's going on, we have the sun making a square to Mars. Mars is back in Leo, which means that it's time to choose when to act by listening to our heart. Leo is very creative energy. It's creatively driven. We want to do things that make us feel excited and alive and give us some sort of creative outlet. The sun being so closely connected to who we are. And we also have the sun making a square to Pluto here this week on the 23rd. If the sun is your heart, in order to truly become conscious of what we're doing on this planet, getting out of autopilot, pulling ourselves out from under all of the conditioning that we were taught over the years about who we are and who to be and who not to be, so that we can find our heart. In order to have consciousness about who we are and what's going on around us and our impact on the people around us and determining who we wish to be in this lifetime. The sun is our king. What kind of king do you want to be? What kind of kingdom do you want to have? What kind of rulership are you going to exhibit upon your kingdom? That's the sun. We have to spend many years answering those questions. When the sun is making a square to Mars and Leo, it is a double reminder to tune in with the heart, with the creative nature. Mars helps us to take action, but in this case, on the things that are important. The same with Saturn. Saturn says, do the work, keep showing up, but on the things that are important. With the South Node over here in Virgo, Virgo is doing the work as well, but oftentimes with Virgo, we get spun out and distracted with the things that don't matter. We feel beholden and obligated to do things that in the end aren't actually getting us closer to our goal. And they definitely aren't connecting us in with our heart. So the things that you do that fill up your time, that make you exhausted and resentful and a pill to be around, those are the things that you have to be conscious enough to know that you don't want to be doing that. If you're somebody that's going to huff and puff when somebody asks you a favor, and then you're going to say yes to the favor anyway, that's on you. That's not on them. Mars teaches us a lot about boundaries. Saturn teaches us a lot about discernment, and the sun teaches us a lot about who we wish to be. What kind of impact do you want to make on this world? Do you want to be remembered as that person that's always grumpy and crabby and that others have to walk on eggshells around you? And I'm bringing these specific examples up because on the 23rd, we have the sun making a square to Pluto. The sun is in the sign of Taurus. So this brings in our desire to accumulate abundance, our desire for safety and security. So we're going to have some of those themes mixed in with this square to Pluto. And when the sun meets with Pluto, remember, Pluto is the lord of the underworld. We all have Pluto within us. We all hold Plutonian energy. So on a bad day, Pluto energy can look like being manipulative, gaslighting, not telling the truth, stonewalling, engaging in power and control struggles, indulging in addictions, blaming other people for our problems, Pluto on a bad day can be sneaky and tricky and icky. So as our sun in Taurus that is concerned with safety, stability, abundance, things that feel good, meets with Pluto, we might be confronted with some of our own behaviors that we're trying to get the abundance. We're trying to create safety and security. But if we're going about it in, let's just say, a passive aggressive way, right? We're not being upfront with someone. We're dropping little hints instead of just saying it outright. We are scorekeeping. We're talking badly about somebody behind their back. Like if we are trying to generate our own security in a way that is underhanded or in our shadow or in the underworld, that is going to come to light, and we're going to have to take responsibility for that. Any person that comes into your life this week that makes you want to act out in one of those ways, this is a teacher for you. Because what we want to do, the high side of Pluto, which we each have, is about taking our power back and understanding the complexities of what we're dealing with, seeing our own part in things, acknowledging how we can slip into addictions because we don't want to face something, noticing how we keep secrets because we don't want to face something, or noticing how we blame somebody else because we don't want to face something. The sun is the light. The sun says, shine some light on it so that you can see it. What is this person triggering in you? Why is this person so difficult for you? And what is this person here to teach you about yourself? This is a really powerful sun week where if we're paying attention, we get all of this extra information about who we are. And again, what the impact is that we want to make on the world. Because think of all the people in your life over the course of the years that have been really hard. And you've walked away with a terrible taste in your mouth. They betrayed you. They abandoned you. They blamed you for something that you didn't do. They didn't see you clearly. They took advantage of you. Like we all have those people in our lives. So think about how that felt to you. And do you want to be that person for others? No way. But in order to not be that person, it takes a lot of introspection. And we have to know our own part in things. We may not be able to go back and fix things from the past, but certainly if there's somebody actively in our life right now that triggers these Plutonian things in us, we can use it as a learning experience. Wow, what is this person triggering for me? And what is my part in it? Because I promise you, we all have parts in everything that happens, even if our part is only to be the student and to learn something about ourselves from the way this person has treated us. The more that we learn, the stronger we become, the brighter our light comes. If our inner sun is buried, we want to try to get that sun unburied so that it can rise and be light and bright and bring us life. April 24th, we have another biggie. We have Saturn and Venus meeting. This is the third pass. Saturn and Venus have been together for a few weeks. This has been really hard energy because this is our money. This is our self-confidence. This is our relationship. Everybody listening to this podcast, I would assume, has had either all three of those, or at least one, has had at least one, or maybe all three of those themes show up and they feel hard because Saturn is the planet that makes us work hard. It takes us from being a novice into being a master. But what do they say? You're not a master at something until you've done 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours. Think about how many hours that is. So Saturn and Venus haven't been together for 10,000 hours, but that is the energy that they have been bringing up for us. Venus represents everything that we want. And Saturn represents the hard work that you have to put in, the perseverance that it takes to get what you want. And what we've noticed over the last few weeks is that there have been major setbacks. And this is what Saturn does. It brings us situations that really knock us down. They knock our pride. They knock our trust. They knock our sense of well-being. But the reason for that, especially in the sign of Pisces, especially traveling with the North Node, is that this is a spiritual evolution. This isn't even about the money or the relationship or the worthiness. This is your soul wanting to harden a little bit. When I was a metalsmith, we would take fire and we would put it on metal and it softens the metal. The metal becomes malleable. But then you'd have to take your hammer and you'd have to hit the metal to work hard in it. We've been under fire. Being under fire can make us soft. It can make us open our hearts because we have to get vulnerable. We have to talk about our fears. We have to feel into the fear or the grief or the despair that it brings up for us. And then we have to show up and we have to do the work of healing, of finding reality again, of finding our center. And with every step that we take in that direction, we become a little stronger. We become more fortified. So this whole transition with Saturn and Venus together has been really rough, and yet we are all becoming very fortified. So pay attention this week as these two are making their final pass together, because you may get some answers. You may finally get some understanding about what this journey has been about for the last several weeks. All right, on April 26th, and I'm telling you, this is a never-ending week of big astrology, we have Mars making an opposition to Pluto. This is the third Mars opposing Pluto that we've done since Mars went retrograde back in October, back and forth, back and forth. Mars being that planet of energy, action, drive, and war, opposing Pluto, our dark side. A lot of this energy is very similar to what I talked about with the Sun squaring Pluto. Do not shy away from seeing your own shortcomings. We want to see our own shortcomings and we want to meet them from a very heart-centered place. This isn't about having an inner critic attack. This is about saying, listen, I have my own responsibility in this. I'm not an easy person. This is about understanding our own impact. Again, I keep using this word, our impact on others, because I come across so many people that have no connection to the way that they impact other people. They are moving through the world in such a self-centered way. They don't understand that they are putting people off or they are pushing people away. And then on the other side of that, they're lonely. They feel disconnected. This is where we look at ourselves and we say, do I put people off? Do I push people away? Am I centering so much of my own experience on myself that I'm unable to see other people? Am I blaming so much of my own stuff on other people that I am not able to take accountability and make the changes that I wish? Do I feel lonely and disconnected? And is that because of something that I'm doing? This is hard stuff to look at. Like we all wish that it was always everybody else's fault and that somebody else was going to come along and make it better for us. But as we move into all of this Aries energy, it really is about taking responsibility for yourself in a whole new way. So when we see Mars opposing Pluto, it's like, hey, take responsibility for your annoyance, for your grumpiness, for your bitchiness. Like we all do it. And we wish other people would take responsibility for their stuff, but we can't control their stuff. So if we can be the change that we wish to see out in the world, that means that we notice when we are being a jerk and we do the personal work that it takes within us to calm things down and to see things through the lens of more reality. It's not always somebody else's fault. All right, and then finally, on the 27th, we have this new moon in Taurus. It's going to be at 7 degrees, which does, by the way, put it in a square with Mars. We can look at this as a reset. We are doing a ton of really deep confrontational work this week with ourselves. The new moon just reminds us to take a deep breath, tune into what's here, what's now, tune into the present moment, tune into the physical body, allow the physical body to inform you. What do I need? How can I tend to myself? How can I care for and nurture myself? And with this square to Mars, there is also a sense of how can I bring more passion and creativity into my life? And where do I need better boundaries, both with others and with myself? Taurus is really strong energy. I'm going to be talking about Taurus in several videos this month, so tune into those. Taurus is really strong. It teaches us how to sustain and how to create pleasure and stability. So we will get to really work on that. And all of this self-confrontation, this being able to see your own impact, the end result is a stronger sense of stability. You're not getting rolled around by so many other people in your life. And most certainly, you're not getting rolled around by your own temper tantrums and your own desires and your resentments, etc. We want to work to clear those things so that we can feel more peaceful and more centered. And, the bull is a very peaceful archetype. So that's what we're working on this week. All right, I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you all soon.